everybody, welcome back for another video. Is two better than one? Sometimes it can be, sometimes it might not be. We always think about mags and we think about having extra ammo, especially with less lethal defense. We think that more might be better. We might need more ammo. If you watched my previous video very recently, I talked about the biggest risk that you have of having too many shots on target, being over responsive. It's something that can happen, but there is also another way of looking at it, and you could say, well, having an extra mag is probably one of the most useless things that you would need. Based on that, you would say, well, why would you ever need to have a reload? And you're not going to get in a gunfight. You're not going to be having that kind of back and forth. And I totally agree with that point of view. You're going to have an initial few shots, and hopefully that de-escalates the situation enough that you get away, everything is resolved. But it all is very context dependent. It depends on where you are. What if you are in an area where it's unsafe, and a second attacker steps up after you think you're away, and then you're going to have another confrontation? Or yeah, a perfect hit will put someone down. You might hit them in the knee. You might hit them in a place where they really are incapacitated. But what if you don't? What if they take a few body shots? What if they've got on a big coat? They may just be slowed down enough, and then they come back. So if you've burnt your 3 or 4 good shots, and you've used this first mag, and you've essentially punctured your CO2, and now you're down to just very weak shots. And I don't care how high you have your launcher tuned up. If you have a launcher that will put out 40 joules, by the time you're getting to those final shots on a spent CO2, or even you've used up your entire CO2 and you've put out 5 shots or 7 shots, and you find it's not sufficient, then you're stuck. You really have nothing but a blunt object. You have to resort to plan B. You may have pepper spray. You may have something else. The thing I like about this FSC system, and you can say what you want about it, but having the CO2, an extra CO2 with every mag, when I go to my second mag, if I need it, if I think I'm getting away and I'm walking away, and then suddenly I'm being reattacked by someone else, I have a second mag. If I have it somewhere on body, maybe in a jacket pocket, or maybe in my carry bag. But if I have it, I think that first situation is resolved, I would immediately reload and get a new mag in with fresh ammo, maybe even a different type of ammo. It depends. I've got aluminum balls in this mag, and I've got Grimburg joules in this mag. These things are dark as night. You can hardly even see them in there, the joules, but you can see the aluminum ammo there. I would get that second mag in as fast as I can after the initial incident. I wouldn't just assume that it's over. That's a big assumption. I would get I would get a reload, and I would put it away. But then if you find that you have to use it again, you've got it. It's ready. It's got full power, full CO2, and you're ready to go. I think a second mag is very reasonable to have and to carry. The TCP is big and bulky, and these are big and bulky. These are 8 shots, but full 12 gram CO2. And you can see here, they each are essentially loaded and ready. And I keep the latch down here. It's basically underneath, and so it's not going to get triggered. These balls will just shoot out if you pull that and you release it. If it's not inside the launcher, those balls will shoot out. I just had them shoot across the floor because I was loading it without this on there first. So I have to say, I really, I go back and forth about that. I love, like, for example, the Grimburg gavel. I love their concept. I like the power, and I really understand the shot count. It is most likely going to be low on it for a given situation on a given individual. But just remember that unless you are dealing and you think that it's always going to be a single person who's instigating something with you, then that's one thing, and that's where a gavel or something with very limited capacity and no reloads is going to be useful for you. But if you go on for power and you want to have fresh power with your fresh ammo, the FSC system is a great system, and I always go for the TCP PepperBall. I like to go with the brand name that is for less lethal as opposed to an FSC. I know an FSC you can get it a little cheaper and it has more ability to be upgraded and it's probably more fun. But I think that at the end of the day, it's a paintball marker, and that's what it was intended to do, and that's what it's sold for. Whereas a TCP and a gavel and those kind of markers are less lethal launchers. They're for that purpose, and I think that's the safer way to go when it comes to making a choice. But I love this system. I don't think there'll be a better system than this. You really can't beat how just self-contained it is. It has its own separate power source. I mean, that's as close as you're going to get to a real life situation in terms of being able to get more power, same level. And I know reloading of these is very cumbersome. Dropping the mag is no problem. That's easy. But here you've now got to reload like you normally would if it was a firearm, but then you've got to do your twist, and so you've got extra steps. So that's why everyone is right. You're not going to be reloading in a firefight. It doesn't happen with less lethal. There's more than enough power here with these kind of projectiles to dissuade someone and get them to step away. But I'm just thinking about the situations where it's winter, there's heavy coats, there's less power from your CO2 anyway, and there's not a really good sources of N2O for 12 gram. They're just outrageously expensive, and they're like unicorns. There's 8 grams are plentiful. And I think the reason why is because it's a regulated gas, and I think people, the larger canisters could be abused, and that's why they keep it 8 gram, and 8 gram can be used. But in winter, you never know what can happen. And again, like let's say it's a homeless people, they tend to cluster in groups, and you're going down a street, and there's one person that's being aggressive, but there's other people around who might not like that their friend just got shot, and they don't know what you shot them with, but they may come after you. I can think of lots of scenarios where once I had to use my less lethal and I thought I was done, I would want it working. I would not want it to be like, I would not want to use my gavel and use my shots and then realize that I'm now completely out of ammo and I cannot reload and I can't do anything about it. And then I have to face another immediate threat. Bad things come in 2s and 3s, so it's not always simply just you and one attacker. So just keep that in mind. It's never as simple as it sounds. Consider this system. I love it. I've been using it for a long time. I feel comfortable knowing that there's another one there just in case I need it if I had to use this one. Because you might miss, there might be lots of reasons why you don't achieve success on first iteration. I have videos that talk about that. The first iteration, sometimes less lethal needs second iteration. And in your case, if you have 2 mags, you can go to a second iteration. But everybody's perspective is different, and I'm just giving you another point of view. I try to give you things to think about, and because it's never so simple. And I'll leave it at that. Everybody take care, as always. We'll see you in the next one.